heard that intro in a minute.
I know, right? We're back.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
And today we brought a very special guest. I met him first. So about a year and a half or so ago, I met this wonderful gentleman, Bill O'Donnell, who happens to own a distillery up in Wisconsin. And he loves sandwiches, and he loves barbecue sauce. He loves cooking. He loves booze. He loves, everything we're all about here at What's a Sandwich. So, and we haven't been around in a minute, so we thought, why not? No better way to come back than without the special guest, Mr. Bill O'Donnell.
Yeah, let's bring Bill on here.
Oh, and Andy.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm here too.
Hey, Bill.
Oh, sorry. I was just pouring a freshie. Little honey bourbon on this beautiful sunny day in South Wisconsin.
That stuff is delicious. No, the maple one. Both.
It looks beautiful up there. Looks absolutely beautiful.
Perfect day. It's a little bit windy, so I apologize for any wind noise. But
is that a backdrop?
Our new pavilion where we host our tastings. Puppy.
Yeah.
That's Phoebe. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad to be here with you guys. This is great, and doing it from the farm is even better. I mean, this farm's the inspiration for all my cooking, my booze, the honey, and my honey bourbon, which is what I'm drinking today. Comes from my my honeybees in the prairie right behind us. And I love food. I love, like you said, Ryan, I love booze. I love good tasting stuff. I love quality stuff. I love to cook, and so it's a great fit. Glad to be here and share with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If anybody that's watching right now, if you want to try Bill's bourbons, he has all different spirits. If you want to try his distilled spirits at his farm, you actually can go online at blueashfarm.com, and I actually have a thing here. There we go. blueashfarm.com. You can go on and book your tasting with him. He goes through kind of, actually, I'll let you talk about it a little bit, Bill, but it's a full experience when you go up to the farm.
Because you did it, right? You went up there and did the whole thing. Yeah, I haven't yet.
And was it your parents or Brittany's parents? I can't remember.
It was my parents that were with us.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
The drinkers? Yeah, his.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a great experience. I mean, our distillery, and just to, it's too close to a school, and there's rules. This business has so many regulations. It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah,
our distillery is too close to a school, so we can't serve anything there. So the farm, which on the bottle, that's our tasting room right there. I built that cabin myself about 14 years ago. I just converted it to a tasting room.
It's incredible.
It's awesome. The story of Blue Ash is on the back in our family. The original Blue Ash farm was my grandfather's farm in Kentucky. But everyone's like, well, people want to come to the farm and see it. So no
one actually cares about the distillery part. They like the farm.
The distillery is nothing to look at. It's an industrial park. It's nothing pretty. And we can't serve anything there, so we don't invite people there. Now, this farm is 55 acres in the Pecatonica River Valley in Argyle, Wisconsin. And today is the most gorgeous day here right now. It's unbelievable. No humidity, perfect temperature, a nice breeze. But people can come to the farm. It's easy to go to, like you said, blueashfarm.com, click the make a reservation. The only reason we do the reservations is because we like them real intimate and personal. And I host them all. I host every tasting. I didn't want to bring somebody in that can't answer the questions that I can answer. In fact, I had 2 tastings today. I had 2 groups at 12 o'clock and a group at 2 o'clock, and then rearranged to get this going with you guys today. But it's you pay a $10 reservation fee, but you get your money back when you come to the tasting. It's just my way of making sure I have the right amount of people and it's not overbooked, because if the weather's nice, it's inside in the cabin. And it's a lot of fun. It comes with a free drink at the local bar in town, Goodfellas Tavern, which has fantastic food. They make incredible Blue Ash Farm cocktails, the vodka, the gin, all 3 bourbons, cherry vodka. It's fantastic. So it's a great day trip. From Chicago, I've had people from Dubuque, Madison, Milwaukee, and then as far away as Los Angeles, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio. It's great. It's a very casual, fun experience, and I host it all.
So just cause asking on the side of like local business, and I used to be a bartender and all that different stuff. So have you partnered up a lot with that local bar that they get so have you guys worked together a lot, or did they do a lot more of the creating a lot of the Blue Ash Farm drinks, or
Well,
did you guys, was it like a teamwork thing?
Yeah, a little bit of teamwork. I had most of them, but a lot of, there's not a lot of honey bourbons out there and maple bourbons and cherry vodkas that are authentic. I mean, this honey bourbon, it's not honey flavoring. That's honey from my beehives, literally in the prairie, 100 yards away. My cherry vodka, I had a tasting, so I got it all out here. My cherry vodka, that's red from Wisconsin cherry. There you go.
Yeah.
There's no
we had some earlier today.
Added sugar in that. That is an 80 proof vodka infused with Wisconsin.
Yeah, it is.
And the same with the maple bourbon. I tap the maple trees here. There's nothing fake or artificial in any of this stuff. But anyway, people are like, well, what do you do with cherry vodka? What do you do with honey bourbon? What do you do with maple bourbon? So I came up with cocktail recipes and worked with Jason Dahman down at Goodfellas. He and I partnered up with a lot of fun stuff because we work together to people come here for a tasting and then they get, because I have a Class A license. I can't serve drinks. I can only serve tastings, and you can buy your booze here. But you can go to Goodfellas, have lunch, and you get a free cocktail with your tasting. So he and I came up with a bunch of them. One that we came up with that's fantastic is we call it the Honey Remedy. It's bitters, and I like black walnut bitters.
Ooh.
I'm just a fan of them. They pair real well with my bourbon. Club soda, 2 ounces of honey bourbon, a splash of ginger beer, and a squeeze of fresh lemon. And I'll tell you, my wife Amy, who doesn't like bourbon, she'll drink a Honey Remedy all day long.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we came up with a lot of recipes, and on my website, if you click on blog, it says cocktail recipes. There's food recipes, which some we can talk about later today. I got some good stuff here, but I wanted to come up with some recipes because people are like, what do you do with some of these spirits? But they're high-end spirits, all natural. Actually, everything's kosher certified as well, which is kind of a nice little bonus.
That's really cool.
High proof. My honey bourbon is a full 90 proof, and it's got my honey in it. I don't know if you can see this through the camera. Oh, that's the regular bourbon. But you can actually see the honey and the maple. There's a color difference between the two bourbons.
There is.
Amber color. Yeah, and honey is yellow.
Yeah, I've had both, and then there is a definite color difference in them.
Yeah. But there's no artificial flavoring or coloring or anything, so it's good stuff. Anyway,
you can taste that.
Oh, yeah. But I've always been a foodie. I've done some cooking shows in my past, and I love to cook. Get together with my family, my extended family. I do a lot of the cooking, and I was like, I want to develop some spirits that are up to my par. I don't like bourbons that burn a hole in your throat. I don't like vodkas that taste like rubbing alcohol. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how can we make something better? I've got a gin. Have you guys tried my gin by chance?
Yes.
That I haven't.
I mean, just in general.
Do you have that here?
No, I don't have that.
You killed it.
All your stuff is
Good
incredible.
Thank you.
But the gin, I'm used to like Tanqueray, which, I think over time your taste buds change. But like as a 21-year-old, I absolutely hated gin, and I've always hated gin. And then I went to your place, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get some gin from Blue Ash Farm.
People are always like, I don't like gin. I'm like, perfect. You got to try my gin. Because I wanted a gin that I liked. I thought, I'm a guy that doesn't like gin. And if I like this gin, other people are going to like it. And I remember the funny story, and maybe I told you this before, Andy, that when I developed the gin, I brought it home, and my wife was in the basement wrapping Christmas presents for our kids on the ping pong table. And I'm like, hey, honey, I'm home, and I'm making you a gin and tonic. And she's like, welcome home, but I don't drink gin and tonics. And I said, I know. I said, I just want you to tell me what you think. I made her a gin and tonic. I set it on the ping pong table, and I went upstairs, and she came up 15 minutes later with an empty glass, and she goes, I got to have another one of those. It's that good. This is my wife, who doesn't like gin either. Yeah. I love that gin.
You can really taste the floral notes. I mean, it's very prominent.
And especially this time of year, gin is so good. I was making some French 75s last weekend out in this pavilion. Unbelievable. That gin is so flavorful. But I've always been a bourbon guy, but I had ideas of what I wanted to do for, some really great flavor profiles, and came up with the full line of Blue Ash Farm craft spirits, and it's been fun.
So tell us a little bit. I know we kind of jumped right into Blue Ash Farms, but tell us a little bit about you, Bill. Like, how did you get to be where you're at with the distillery, and what made you? Because I just know from my tour that you didn't initially start at distilling. So what kind of brought you to this point?
Well, I was a financial trader for 30 years, and I never really liked it, but I was decent at it. And it provided me a living for my wife and I and our 4 kids. It allowed me to purchase this farm 21 years ago. I traded options on interest rate products. And in 2008, when the Fed cut rates to near zero after the tech bubble burst, and they said, you know what, rates aren't moving for a long time. And when they're at near zero and they're not going higher and they can't go lower, there was no volatility. There was nothing to do. I sat on my ass, like bored to death. Like, how am I going to pay my bills? And I started doing cooking shows, guest appearances on Rachel Ray and the Chew. I was guest bartender for Andy Cohen. I did a bunch of local shows. Yeah.
I don't remember you ever telling me that.
I don't tell everything. You got to have a few secrets, a few little surprises.
Hairdressers.
Yeah, and I made him my version of Manhattan's, which is on my website. But a cocktail is only as good as its ingredients. Also, I'm a snob when it comes to my vermouth, my cherries, my bitters, my bourbon, everything. But I'll tell you, those Manhattans were a hit on that show. But anyway, and I always told people, God, I'd love to start a bourbon company. I'd love to have my own bourbon. The original Blue Ash Farm, I think I said, was my grandfather's farm in Kentucky. And I've always been a bourbon fan. And I've been keeping bees and tapping maple trees forever. And I thought, how can I incorporate these natural ingredients from my farm into a bourbon or a cocktail or something and make it work? Like, I cook with a lot of my honey and maple and stuff like that. This barbecue sauce is my kid-friendly barbecue sauce. It's on my website. But I also have one that I make with my bourbon that's really good. But I like putting my own stuff in there. I do a lot of cooking with my honey. I like to sweeten things with honey rather than sugar. And the maple syrup's good for stuff. But anyway, I always told people I'd love to start a bourbon company. And I told people. And one day I made a connection through somebody and got an introduction. And me and a distiller just kind of went to town and started working and developing things and created a great partnership. And when I decided, I thought, hey, I can do this. I'm going to, I raised a little bit of money, and people that believed in me and believed in Blue Ash Farm and had tasted my spirits are like, I'm in. And I think in 10 days was sold out of my raise, and here we are.
I mean, that's a good start.
But I started distributing in December of 2019, and in, February of 2020, every bar and restaurant in the country shut down. And I was like, great, well, that's not so good. That I didn't plan on, So I really focused on retail, and things are just kind of starting to snowball and get interesting.
That's awesome. I mean, it's super inspiring. I mean, I like brewing beer. I don't know if I'd ever be good at owning a beer brewing business, but it's super inspiring, and good for you for doing something that you truly love rather than just sticking it through and seeing what might happen.
And then I had because like after I met you, Bill, I put you in contact with Andy here, and then I had a few other people like bar owners and stuff from bars I'd worked in prior. I told them about your bourbon and stuff, and I explained like how I met you and stuff. Like, they're like, okay, cool. Like, so they actually, I don't know if they ever picked up. I know one of the bars didn't, but that's only because she was selling her bar at the time. But she went out and bought your bourbon from the local jewel in Barrington because she actually lives out by you.
Okay.
She owns Bamboozle. Well, she used to own Bamboozles in Dundee. I don't know if you.
We're in Rosie. Rosie in Dundee, Rosie
O'Hara's.
Rosie O'Hara's.
Yes, yeah, they're I used to work for them. I used to also work for them, but she had gone. The owner of Bamboozles, when she used to own it, she had gone out and bought it, and she goes, "Oh my God, this is amazing! If I wasn't trying to sell my bar right now, I would be picking this up and making cocktails out of this all day." And I guess her and her husband have like 4 or 5 bottles of each of them in their bar in their basement now.
Nice. Well, a lot of bars and restaurants have been picking us up. It's the kind of thing, people haven't heard of Blue Ash Farm, but I do these tastings, and the tastings here are tastings at liquor stores, right? I was at Distill America, and I go to all these different events, and I'll tell you, the minute people taste it, they're like, holy crap, I didn't expect this. And it's really good stuff. And like I said, all natural, nothing artificial, high proof. And so it's been fun. It's been really fun. And Gregory, my distillery partner, is just an amazing guy and has, I have a good sense of taste, but he's just got, I call him the mad scientist because he's just like a food chemist. He understands food and drink on a molecular level. Like I'll tell him, hey, what do you think of this? He's like, oh my God, that stuff, he knows when you read a label and it talks about sulfur, glyphloc, I don't even know how to say the words. He's like, do you know what that stuff is? He knows it all. And he's been great. And he and Zoya, and we've been working hard to really grow this thing and move forward and grow it. That's all we can do.
Yeah. I've got a buddy who's really good in Dan, if you're watching right now, props to you. He's really good at like understanding how the beer is going to taste by the end of, like, you create these recipes, right? They could be anything, but he knows what it's going to be before it's done. Or at least it's very convincing when he's telling me how it's probably going to taste. And I just trust him, and people that they just understand the science of like how it all comes together.
I'm going to be a mad scientist with food and beer.
Yeah, it's like,
but I'll tell you, it's like Jason down at Goodfellas always says. He goes, when you're mixing a cocktail, it's like baking. If your ingredients aren't right when you're baking bread, it's not going to rise properly. It's not going to crust properly. It's the same thing with making a cocktail. If it calls for 2 ounces of this and 4 shakes of this and whatever, that's what you got to do. And that's like with brewing beer, the time, the yeast, the mash or whatever. I'm not a brew guy, but I'm more of a, spirits guy. And Gregory knows that innately. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of fun. It really have.
So, fun fact that I learned when I first began bartending, they said when you're creating your drinks, one of the biggest things, like when you're trying to create something new, is don't do it by like, how does this taste? And then taste in each thing separately. Do it by smell. That was one of the biggest tricks I learned when creating drinks. And do you remember when I first started bartending, Andy? Do you remember back then?
Well, yeah.
Like I would always talk about these crazy drinks I would make, but I never did them by tasting each individual one. I would do them by smelling each individual one, and then it would be like if it flowed together through my nose, I knew that it would taste together. It would taste right.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you,
that was the coolest trick I ever learned when creating drinks.
Well, it's amazing what your nose can pick up. In fact, when I do my tastings here, I do them all in Glencairn glasses. And I always tell people, smell this before you drink it. Smell this gin.
Yeah.
Smell the floral and the botanicals that are in there. And then smell the gin, the vodka, and notice how you don't smell anything because the vodka is so clean and smooth. And then smell the cherry vodka, and it's like, holy cow, the cherry. And the same with the bourbon, the honey. You can smell the honey in the honey bourbon.
You really can.
Your nose picks up so much of that. It's unbelievable. But kind of to Ryan's point, my maple bourbon is very fragrant of maple, but it doesn't taste as mapley as it smells. And the honey isn't as honey fragrant as it tastes honey. It's interesting. Yeah. But it's just what your nose can pick up. It's a whole new,
it's a different ball game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree.
The smelling, when we did the tasting with you, the smelling of the gin, that initially got me primed before I took that. I mean, little sip because I was worried.
Yeah. Well, I gotta tell you, everybody that says they don't like gin, I'm like, perfect. Try my gin.
Yeah,
And
it converted me.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe, and you're one of many. People are like, I don't like gin, and they just like, wait a minute, maybe I do like gin.
Oh God, gin.
Flavorful.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I like gin, but oh man, I remember the first time I ever had gin. My old roommate and I listened to the song Snoop Dogg songs, Gin and Juice.
Oh,
Yeah, and that was my introduction to gin. I'm just gonna leave it there.
You got to try this gin. This is unlike any gin
this is a class.
You got some Welch's grape up there too.
We have grapes. We have grapes growing on our split rail fence, but we have all kinds of stuff. I mean, I forage for wild foods too, like the elderberries and the wild asparagus and mushrooms. I'm a big mushroom hunter.
Oh, okay.
I love foraging for mushrooms. I'm into food. I'm into like really awesome taste sensations.
We have a question here for you in the chat. Someone wants to know, hey Dad, my dad would like to know, can I buy your product online?
Yeah, so actually we've got some online partners. It's still kind of in the works right now. I've got some calls on it about tomorrow, but right now you can go to, there'll be a buy it now button on the Blue Ash Farm site, but right now you can go to reservebar.com. And the only thing they have available is our large gift box, which is one of all 6 spirits in a really nice wooden box, and a small wooden box that has just the 3 bourbons in it, in the 375s. But all the product has been shipped to California and New York, and it'll be shipped to Florida soon. And we should be able to reach 40 states for online shipping. So coming soon. And I've actually got a video ready to go to announce that. But until the buy it now button is live, I don't want to play it. But you can go to reservebar.com right now and certain states are available.
So at this point, locally, you're only really just in you're available on the store shelves in, say, Wisconsin and Illinois.
We've shipped to Tennessee. There's certain stores in California, New York, and New Jersey. And I have a store locator on the website, but it hasn't been fully updated yet because, like I said early on about the regulation involved with the spirits business. When I go to a new state, I also have to get licensed in that state. So it's not just like, I'm just going to go sell my booze in Florida. You have to get a distributor and you have to get the licensing and get everything approved. It's like jumping through hoops. I always tell people when I do my tastings, I like chocolate as much as I like bourbon. And I think maybe I should have been like a Willy Wonka because there's no regulation with chocolate like there is with booze. So, when I bring my spirits to my tasting room here on site at the farm, I have to order my own stuff from a distributor. I can't bring my own stuff from my distillery here. It's a system. It's very regulated, and it's just the way it is. It's federal.
Yeah,
so it's a lot of regulation.
Well, it's like I've had friends who have been and like they go to bar and like they're out of one of the alcohols. They're like, well, you can't just go to Jewel and get it. I'm like, no, they can't. They really can't. Yeah. Because like you order it from like there's just like everything between taxes, regulation to knowing how much that location is serving and stuff like that. There is so many regulations. It is ridiculous. Yeah. Especially when you're doing it for sales because like the taxes are like people are like, oh yeah, it's cheaper if you're a bar to buy it. I'm like,
yeah, I mean,
but the taxes are double.
It's a 3-tier distribution system, and every tier has a tax too.
Yeah, they do, and a lot of people don't understand that, and it is insane. Because up by you and I, where we live, I mean, I think it's almost triple, depending on which tier you're in. It's almost triple the tax rate of like just going to the store and buying a bottle.
Well, what's interesting is I have nothing to do with retail prices. So
I know you don't.
FOB, freight on board, and I can only sell to distributors. Once I sell it to a distributor, they own it. and it's theirs to sell, and they can mark it up how they want. They can bring it to a store, and certain stores, depending on which jurisdiction you're in, has different taxes. And you may have a store where it's the only store in town selling blue ash maple bourbon. And maybe they have a high tax bracket there. They may jack the price because they're the only store selling it, and then it goes up because they've got a higher tax. I've seen the retail price ranges on my spirits all over the map, and I don't set any of those retail prices. Like I said, I sell direct to a distributor for FOB, freight on board pricing. Where it goes from there, I have no say. And I've been to places, I've seen ranges. It's unbelievable, but it's part of the way booze is regulated. It's just how it is.
Speaking of booze and bourbon, what about bourbon barbecue sauce on sandwiches?
Well,
I think we need to start talking about the sandwiches.
I know. Wait, I was going to say, is this a podcast on sandwiches?
I think my bartender brain and your like booze maker brain just melded there really well, and we need to get to that.
We all love booze.
But this is about sandwiches.
So look at those.
It is about sandwiches, and I just happen to have a few that I made for this podcast. This is my pulled pork, and a lot of these recipes are on my website. It's my typical pulled pork, but I love barbecue sauces. And the term sandwich, what does sandwich mean? Is sandwich just two pieces of white bread with, ham and cheese? Or is a sandwich a cheeseburger, a burrito, a pulled pork on a hamburger bun, a hamburger, a gyro? Is a sandwich two pieces of bread in a sandwich, or is it food you pick up and eat with your hands? And that's kind of where I get in with sandwiches. But I love barbecue sauce. And now the barbecue sauce that's on my website is like a kid-friendly barbecue sauce. I don't have bourbon in it. But I love making a barbecue sauce with my bourbon. And that's a good one. And that's one, hopefully someday I'd like to actually produce and bottle and sell. But I think bourbon and barbecue go so well together. I have, my maple bourbon makes a great maple glaze for cedar plank salmon. And cedar plank salmon on a nice brioche bun is super good, So It depends what you like and how you're cooking it. But today, like I said, I made these awesome. This one is not my bourbon barbecue sauce. It's just my one that's on the website because I thought if your followers were going to tune in. But it's just a really nice barbecue sauce with my pickled red onions. And then I have a Carolina mustard barbecue sauce with bread and butter pickles. And I'm after this podcast, I'm going to be diving into these for sure.
Yeah, we spent Ryan had to work today, but I was doing some smoking today, and we tried to do our own McRibs today. So he's
we fucking succeeded, and it was way better.
He's assembling right now, but I did a 6-hour smoke on my smoker today.
It was scrum-diddly fuck you umptious.
I love it. Well, when you say McRib, though, that's something I can't eat a McRib. No offense to McDonald's, but a piece of meat that is formed to look like it's got bones in it.
Yeah, it's like sort of
absolute artistic skill.
Like
I can't do that, but I love barbecue ribs, and I cook barbecued ribs a lot. And I've got my own
artistic style though, like making it look like it has ribs and it doesn't. That's pretty skillful. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, molds.
It's like Play-Doh.
You're going to eat a rack of ribs. You're not going to eat the bones. And they want you to believe that these fake bones, whatever. Right. Yeah, there's a nice bun. But yeah, I love the bones. I'm real picky about my ribs, though. A lot of people that cook ribs, they don't understand that the underside of the rack of ribs has a membrane you have to take off. And it's amazing how many people don't know that membrane exists.
Yeah.
If you don't pull that thing off, you're, I don't care how long you cook it or smoke it. You're never going to tenderize that membrane.
Yeah. Ever. No, never. Actually, before we go any farther, I always ask this every time somebody comes on. You were kind of alluding to it while you were talking earlier. So what is a sandwich to you? Like what makes a sandwich? Just the definition alone.
Okay. So I think we all think of a sandwich, like I started to say, 2 pieces of white bread in turkey and cheese or ham and cheese or grilled cheese or peanut butter and jelly. That's a sandwich. To me, a sandwich is a little more widespread than that. To me, sandwich is pickup food. Like a hamburger is a hamburger, a cheeseburger is a cheeseburger, but you pick it up and eat it like a sandwich.
It requires a vessel.
Yeah. A gyro is just like a Greek version of a sandwich. A burrito or a taco is just a Mexican version of a sandwich. So to me, sandwich is a very broad term, but I think we all think sandwich like, oh, I'm going to the deli and I'm getting a sandwich. But to me, a sandwich is anything you kind of pick up. Like spaghetti is not a sandwich. You can't pick it up and eat it.
I beg to differ.
Right.
Yeah, just hoover it up like a vacuum. But I kind of
You gotta get the garlic bread, and then what you do is you take your spork and you just kind of like twirly it on, then you lay it on the garlic spread.
But see but you don't pick up the spaghetti. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, if you want to be polite, no, you don't.
Yeah. But yeah, I think of a sandwich of kind of anything you pick up with your hands and you shove it in your face and eat it. You don't need a fork and a knife. That's a sandwich, whether it's a Greek sandwich, a Mexican sandwich, an American sandwich, or whatever other sandwich, definition is out there. But, is pulled pork on a bun, is that a sandwich? I think so, because I'm picking it up and eating it. Is a hamburger a sandwich? 2 white pieces of white bread? No, but I picked it up and eat it. It's a very broad term for, I think, a lot of categories of food. And to me, it's things you pick up and eat, and you eat the whole thing.
Yeah, I think you pretty much nail it. Like I've been,
and if you don't, you doggy bag it and take it home for later.
Or that.
I've been a guest on a couple of other podcasts lately.
They don't like me as much,
and they don't like Ryan.
Because his sandwich gets caught in his beard.
No, I'm saving it for later.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's why I keep mine real close to the face. But the conversation of what's a sandwich, I'm asked that question, and I'm like, I haven't figured that out yet, because that's the whole point of this thing. But I think the big thing is that I've figured out lately that I really kind of thought to myself, it's like, wait, a sandwich is a noun, but it's also a verb. There's
that
multiple.
verb is not always politically correct.
No, but there's always things that are like, it's kind of like a overlapping, almost like a wormhole type thing, where it's like you could have a circular argument about sandwiches, because you could literally sandwich anything, if you're talking about it in like an action sense.
So delicious.
But just like someone here, David, what's up, David? Woo, love David. He said you can make a bun out of spaghetti. So like you could take spaghetti, fry it, like maybe throw some egg in there. I don't know, like to make a,
That's what I'm saying. And spaghetti was just a generalization, because I make a great sandwich where I take my leftover Thanksgiving turkey stuffing and I mix it with like a little bit of an egg, and I pat it into a patty, and then I bake it. And now it becomes either like the base of an Eggs Benedict, instead of an English muffin, or take 2 of them and it becomes a stuffing bun for a sandwich. So yeah, I mean, I could take 2 packs of ramen noodles and sandwich peanut butter and jelly between them, if that's what you like. I guess it's a sandwich. So when I say spaghetti, I'm taking your traditional spaghetti, spin it on a spoon with a fork. That's not a sandwich. But if you can find a way, David, to make that spaghetti into some type of vessel to hold some good stuff, I'll make it a sandwich for him too.
And he has this.
Oh no! So like David is one of our like star-crossed condiments here. Like he is like like our followers, or AKA condiments that I'm coining that now. And they like will argue that like if you say this can't be a sandwich, just because they will find a way to make it a sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah. David has an awesome sandwich that he actually posted on the group probably maybe a year or 2 ago, where he made rice patties, like rice bun.
Yeah, he did.
And he made like this incredible sandwich out of it. I'll I'll text you the picture of it later. But
that's what I'm saying. So when like you talk about a sandwich, what is a sandwich? To me, it's something you pick up and eat the whole thing. And whether it's David who made a spaghetti bun or somebody who made a rice cake bun or whatever it is, or a Thanksgiving turkey leftover stuffing situation, that's a sandwich, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan's showing off our
nice.
Not homemade barbecue.
Oh yeah, I raided their fridge
from B-dubs.
We'll have like an episode where I raid their fridge and I rate your fridge like I did my own. Like I gave mine like 2 out of 7 stars. It sucked.
Might be a bit harsh. I don't have a very good fridge right now.
Well,
so okay, so
better.
we're talking barbecue. We're talking your barbecue sauce that you make.
Wait.
So tell me a little bit about how you like cooking barbecue sandwiches. Do you like smoking? Are you like charcoal, propane?
Yeah.
What's your go-to?
Well, you know, like I love smoking. Hold on, we have a dog fight here. Sorry, I love smokers. I like slow cookers. When I cook lots of meats, I love low and slow. You know, the same old thing we've all heard a million times: low and slow. I cheat a little bit when I smoke because I have a insulated electric smoker that, you know, I put the wood chips in. And I cheat because in Wisconsin and Illinois, trying to smoke in the winter and the fall and regulate that temperature can be a chore, you know, and it can screw up the whole meal. And I've had really good luck with those. I mean, I have friends that live in warmer climates and they have the nice, you know, smokers. It's a, you know, the side thing, and they do their thing and they regulate the heat. It's easy when the temperature is consistent outside. But when it's 10 degrees in Chicago and I want to smoke some ribs or a pork butt or a brisket, it can be almost impossible trying to regulate that heat temperature. Yeah. So I love smoking stuff in my smoker. I do it low and slow. I'm a fan of like I do my barbecued ribs in the oven. I wrap my ribs in, I get the real wide tin foil. I take my rack of, ooh, that looks good. I take my rack of ribs, I get the membrane off, I season them real good, and I wrap them real tight in like a little packet so no air can come or go, and they're tight, and I put them in a low, slow oven for like 3 hours. And by the time it comes out, it's like the Jiffy Pop popcorn, you know, that thing that used to blow up the foil. And the foil packet blows up, and you open it up, the steam comes out, and it's full of liquid juice from the ribs. It's unbelievable. I'm going to get into a sandwich too.
Take a bite. I mean, Ryan's going over here. He's like trying to feed me food. I'm like, I'm trying to talk to Bill here.
Oh my God.
Bill's talking. You're not talking. So you don't eat.
Onions. I love pickled red onions. I just made these the other day.
Oh, how do you pickle your onions?
And instead of you know, sugar, or I use my honey to make my pickled onions.
Oh,
yeah. But when you have as much honey as I have, you find ways to use it. But anyway, and then I'll take my ribs out. And, you know, the first thing to burn when you barbecue ribs is the sugar in the barbecue sauce. So I'm also, then I'll take them out. They already fall off the bone. I save all that juice. And then I'll put them on the grill with the barbecue sauce. And I don't ever really like cook them with the barbecue sauce, because the barbecue sauce is the sugar in it is what burns. Yeah. But I also do one where I do a German ribs, cook them in the foil. I don't put any barbecue sauce in them. I cut them into like 2 or 3 sections of bones, and I layer them in a big Dutch oven with sauerkraut, and I cook them again for like another hour and a half. And they're unbelievable. Certain meats, low and slow, take all day. That sounds
awesome. I am a sucker for German food.
You know what?
Put that one down.
Especially anything caramelized.
My wife likes caramelized onions. I do a full German meal. My mom's all German. My dad was all Irish. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. But I cook a full authentic German meal. Rouladen, Wiener Schnitzel, Sauerbraten, homemade apple dumplings. I make my own spetzel. I make pickled red cabbage out of my garden. I got a demo of science. That's a whole nother episode. A Wiener Schnitzel or a Schweiner Schnitzel on a bun the next day with the leftover red cabbage or sauerbraten. Holy cow. Yeah.
So another popular question that floats around what's a sandwich is a hot dog a sandwich? So would you say anything tubular between a bun is still a sandwich?
Again, it gets into that broad definition of a sandwich. You pick it up and eat it with your food. But that's a tough one because a bratwurst loaded up with sauerkraut and, good stuff. It's tubular, but it's a sandwich.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I've had many back and forth different things. Like people will say like pretty much the argument about a hot dog or let's just even a brat or something like that. Like they'll say a hot dog is a hot dog. Like it's just like a Ryan is a Ryan or a brat is a brat.
That's
like an Andy is an Andy, but it's like, well,
or a hamburger is a hamburger. But
I'm still a human.
Yeah. I'm definitely not.
Well, you're an alien.
Like you're a human, but you're Andy and you're Ryan. But it's a sandwich, but it's a hamburger or a hot dog, a ham and cheese, a taco, a burrito, a gyro. It's pick up handheld food and you eat the whole
I'm not human, I'm hungry.
I think you have the definition for sure, Bill. I think
you can, if you like it and it's a sandwich, it's a sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another favorite quote of mine is a sandwich is anything you could dream it could be, or something along those lines. We had somebody on, his name was Chuck Shelton, and he said something along those lines. And I'm like,
oh yeah, I remember
it's
that.
anything you can dream as long as it's that action of sandwiching. I mean,
or what did they say on the Doctrine episode? As long as there is a vessel to deliver it to your mouth, as long as it's an edible vessel to deliver it to your mouth.
Yes, a handheld. Yes,
Yeah. Kind of a funny story on that is when I did the Chew a few years ago, and I was talking about I have my own pancake batter mix. It's unbelievable. And we were talking about it, and they're like, well, what do you do to your pancake batter? And I have some stuff I do that. Hopefully I'd love to package that someday. But I said, there's nothing worse than a pancake that is a vehicle for syrup. I want the pancake to be good too. And it's the same thing. You make a sandwich, you can put it on plain old white bread and load it up with lots of good stuff and it's going to taste good. But how awesome is it to have like a really good vessel, whether it's a spaghetti thing or a rice thing or a Hawaiian bun or a brioche bun or a rye bread or a taco shell or a burrito. That's the vehicle for whatever you want it to be. Why can't you wrap up and I've done it before, wrap up a bratwurst and sauerkraut and beer cheese in a flour tortilla? Oh. Is it a bratwurst or is it a burrito or is it a sandwich?
I've done it.
It's kind of a style too.
I was drunk, but I did it.
I poach my brats in beer, and then I take that poaching liquid and I make a beer cheddar.
Yeah.
To boil.
Oh, or have you ever done it where you're taking like a skillet and then you pour some beer in it, let it get hot with it, and then you pour a little more, and then you cook the hot dogs in it, and the hot dogs like blow up, and then you put them in the. Oh my god, that's so good.
Yeah,
I actually had the hot dog explode on me once.
Yeah, fried bologna, and they puff up, and then
they go poof, and it's just like it's like
I love bologna. I haven't had bologna in years.
I hate bologna, but I like blowing it up. But
oh my goodness!
But I love good hot dogs. I love good brats. And I'll tell you, up here in Wisconsin, there's so many local butchers around where you're getting a brat that is literally from the farm down the street. We got a pig farm right around the corner from here, less than a mile. And a butcher that picks the pigs up and makes the brats and the breakfast sausage. I mean, you can cook breakfast sausage from these local butchers and packing houses, and when you clean out the pan, there's hardly any grease in it because it's not the stuff you buy commercially where it's all grease. And when you're done cooking in an iron pan,
it's not weighed down with fat.
Grease in the bottom of it.
Wow.
So anyway.
So I guess kind of, I know we've got about, let's see. Oh, we got about 10 minutes here. We might go a little bit over. Brittany just gave me a little bit of a warning, but I know we start a little bit later. So as far as Blue Ash Farm and the, where you're at, I mean, is it going to be just more of a tasting room, or do you have plans for maybe like a restaurant one day? What's the future? What's the future of Blue Ash Farm's farm?
Yeah, I really want to grow this. I'd love to do more up here in Wisconsin. I'd love to bring more business to this area. This is a great little town, and it's a small town, and they've been so supportive of what I've been doing here. And I would love to bring the business up here and really grow something up here. With our new outdoor pavilion that's turned out great. It's not even finished yet. We plan to have bigger events. And just today I was telling people, wouldn't it be fun to have like a day event where we bring in some food trucks and we have a tasting, and I invite the local, there's a guy down the street that pastures lamb and grows salad greens, and another guy down the street that makes pottery and inoculates trees for wild mushrooms, and have all those people come here and have like just a local makers day and really bring people here and grow this into something else.
I would love to be part of that.
I know it'd be fun, but I'll tell you, I mean, I'm just trying to run a business, be a big part of it. Like, people come to these tastings because they want me to host their tasting. I've been to tastings at liquor stores and events, and the company, you can hire people to host your tastings. And I was doing one recently, and I was next to the guy, and he was trying to describe the bourbon. He's like, "Do you notice the caramel coloring and the aroma?" He was reading from a script, and I'm out there. I'm like, "What do you want to know?" I can answer every question. And I've had tastings before where people don't necessarily know who I am, and I have people say to me, "Do you own this company?" And I'm like, "Yeah, how can you tell?" And they go, "It's obvious, because you get it, And so I really have jumped full into this, and I want to continue it. Sure, I want to grow it, but you lose a lot of that personal stuff. Absolutely. But, I can't be doing tastings all over the place either someday. But, when you come to the farm and you're doing a tasting here, I'm going to be here. If we have a tasting room in, another state somewhere, well, that might change, or maybe I'd visit here and there. But if you come to Blue Ash Farm in Argyle, Wisconsin, and you have a tasting, I'm going to be the guy pouring you the spirits and talking about it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's the magic of that. I mean, I fortunately have been able to come to your farm. Ryan, we got to get you out of here.
Yeah, we do.
But that is the magic of it. It's not just like booze. It's actually an experience. Yeah. And I love Argyle. I've been going up there. I've been going up there for ever, actually just before we got married. So for the past 5 years. And I love it up there. We go tubing up there. Love the Pecatonic River. That's a lot of fun to do. You're not too far from New Glarus as well for those beer nuts. If they want to go and see, New Glarus Brewery. But Argyle, Andy. Yeah, but but Argyle is awesome, and just it's a very simple town, but like, yeah, I think it's great what you're doing, and the experience that you get at your tastings is one in a million. I've been to tons of wine tastings, and just like you said, it's like the person's almost reading off a script, or it's almost drier than some of the wines that I'm tasting. It's just like, But
the local food up here is so good. I mean, my gosh, like I said, when I talk about, the packing house right in town, I mean, he's making the brats right there. That's a sandwich. The bar in town has the most amazing cheeseburgers. That's a sandwich. You know what I mean?
I want to go get that cheeseburger.
Prime rib sandwich. That's a sandwich, I don't care what it comes on. If you're picking it up and eating it, it's all good. And I'll tell you, when we get up here, my wife and kids or friends,
No, it's not always good,
we have
but-
campouts here a lot of time, and I always do my pulled pork, smoke it days in advance, and people are eating the pulled pork, whether they eat it on a sandwich or they're eating it on a plate because they don't want a bun, whatever. But good food, however you get it into your mouth. If you scoop it up with Fritos, is that a sandwich? Maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
That's the magic question. So if anybody's trying to find you, where can people find you other than your website, blueashfarm.com?
I'm on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's either Blue Ash Farm or Bill O'Donnell or BAF Spirits. And I try to post stuff there, but the website can link you to everything. There's a find a store locator, and that's growing constantly. I'm waiting for these other states that have now retail partners to send me, okay, what's the name of the store? What's the address? What's the phone number? There'll be linked for the online sales and things like that. I have a bunch of my recipes. I cook a lot. I've been so busy, I haven't cooked as much lately, but the pulled pork I have in here right now is on there. My barbecue sauce is on there. My Carolina barbecue sauce is on there. And just little things. I do the things the way I like it. Like my Carolina mustard barbecue sauce, I use, what's the German mustard? What's the German mustard? Comes in the little cup. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm blowing this.
Oh, Wayne's World.
Dusseldorf, well, anyway,
Yes!
American mustard, it's real vinegary and it's real yellow.
Okay.
I use the German mustard that doesn't have as much vinegar because there's so much vinegar in this, and shallots, and I use my honey and stuff. It's just my twist on it. So you can take my Carolina mustard barbecue sauce and use whatever mustard you like. You know what I mean? My barbecue sauce, same thing. You can adjust the things the way you like them. When I make my pickled onions, I sweeten it with my honey instead of sugar. And I add red pepper flakes to it because I think that just, hold on. I think it just gives it a different twist. It makes a great sandwich. Like, here's my Carolina mustard sauce with the bread and butter.
It hurts.
I think your headphones might be going out, Bill.
Oh, really? Can you hear me at all?
It's like kind of granular.
It's like I'm about to get sucked into the computer.
Oh, it stopped. No,
Sorry,
it's still
sorry.
there.
I had my son tried to FaceTime me, and it came up on my computer, so that must have been it. Sorry about that.
No worries. Well, thanks so much for being on the show. I know we're just about at time here, but if anybody wants to check out Bill and Blue Ash Farm, please visit blueashfarm.com, or you can find him on social media, like he had said. Just look up Blue Ash Farm. He's out there. Bill O'Donnell, if you want to find him as well. But thanks so much for being on the show, Bill. And
if anyone has any questions, the info, on the website. Guess who gets the emails? Me. It doesn't go to, it's not outsourced somewhere. I get all the emails. I answer all the questions. And the tasting room reservations are fun. It's flexible. You can come any day of the week. In fact, I had so many requests for tastings on Father's Day. I opened it up, and I came up and had a bunch of tastings on Father's Day because Amy and I, the kids, had already celebrated our anniversary, my wife's birthday, Father's Day. We spent so much time together. You know what? We're on a business. I want to come on Father's Day for a tasting. You do it.
Awesome.
But Bill, it was a pleasure seeing you again because I haven't seen you since like June or March or something around there.
No,
Well, next time I come up, I'll bring my tools with me. Well, when I eventually come up, I'll just bring them up and we'll make a day of it. So, but it was a pleasure seeing you again. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, for sure.
You make an amazing product.
Thank you. And you know why don't come back? We'll drink for a weekend and make all kinds of sandwiches. And
I'm gonna need a DD.
Great German restaurants up here that make have Swiss that make fondue.
Sugar puppy.
Yeah, this is Winnie. Yeah, she's my good puppy. She's my hunting puppy. So I likes to hunt ducks and pheasants. So there's another sandwich. Wild game sandwich.
Oh yeah, I do. I had I made venison and egg sandwich the other day on garlic bread.
That sounds awesome. That sounds great. But anyway, I love it. It was great seeing you guys, chatting, great getting to know you, and look forward to seeing you. You're always welcome up here, and hopefully you'll be back sooner than later. Alrighty.
All right. Thanks so much, Bill. Thanks everybody for joining us for another episode of What's a Sandwich. If you want,
yes, and it's been too long.
I know. We will be back in, I think, August.
We're definitely working on more content now.
Yes. July might be a little bit dry because of Independence Day, but we will be back for sure in August. We have a guest planned for that. And cheers to season 2. Cheers, Bill.
Cheers, Bill.
But thanks for having me. We appreciate it, and looking forward to seeing you all soon. Okay.
Absolutely. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, everybody. And if you want to find more about What's a Sandwich, visit whatsasandwich.com. You can find us on Etsy as well if you want to get some What's a Sandwich gear. And as always, you can find us on social media under What's a Sandwich. Thanks so much, and have a great weekend. Cheers.
Bye, guys.